All right. Well, the White House facing pushback as President Trump announces a big staffing change. Dan Coats will step down as Director of National Intelligence, and the president is going to tap Texas Republican Congressman John Ratcliffe to be the new DNI. The president on Twitter saying Ratcliffe is, quote, highly respected and, quote, will lead and inspire greatness for the country he loves. Ratcliffe, a member of the House Intel Committee, has been a staunch defender of the president, and top Democrats Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are calling his appointment politically motivated. Senate Minority Leader Schumer saying, quote, it's clear that Representative Ratcliffe was selected because he exhibited blind loyalty to President Trump. If Senate Republicans elevate such a partisan player to a position that requires intelligence expertise and nonpartisanship, it would be a big mistake. Coats' departure comes after some public disagreements with the president, including on Russian interference in the 2016 election. So, Congressman Issa, obviously, this is a critical role because you are making sure that there is open communication among the various intelligence agencies, which, you know, that breakdown was how we got 9/11. So this position extends outside of partisan politics. It should, but it's also very critical because we've seen how the surveillance apparatus can be abused and used as a political weapon. Why aren't Democrats more concerned about that since they have 24 people running for president?
You know, what's amazing is that, in fact, you defined the job perfectly, something that hasn't yet happened. Every DNI since the creation has tried to become the head of all intelligence, the boss of all intelligence. It was created, I was on the committee when we created it. It was created to, if you will, stop the stovepiping, encourage the communication, create a situation, it's a management situation of letting the CIA and the NSA, all of them do their job, and then making sure that there aren't gaps. So, who better for that than a former U.S. attorney and someone who served on the Intel Committee who doesn't pretend that he's going to be the chief spy, but rather, just like a U.S. attorney, figure out how to do case management. So, is he the right choice? He's a very good choice. Should they look at that rather than go back to, well, we've got to have somebody who disagrees with the president? I want to have someone that disagrees with this kind of group thought where there's either no problem or they all agree on a problem. Exactly. And it wasn't just then. Remember, we had this leading up to the Iraq War where they all agreed that Saddam had nuclear weapons, and unfortunately he didn't. So I want somebody who's got a U.S. attorney's background, who never takes anything at face value and forces people to prove what they say.
Yeah, it is an organizational position, but Capri, it wouldn't have mattered if the president nominated Elijah Cummings to be DNI. Democrats would, you know, claim some partisan hackery, and that would be the resistance, instead of rationally looking at what the position entails and how it has to be curtailed in order to be
right. Well, look,
safer.
I think that no matter what, sure. I mean, I'm sure that, the performance of, this individual as a member of Congress and being a forceful defender of the president probably played into his appointment. Sure. But, this is politics. And also elections have consequences. Now, would I necessarily agree with this individual as someone who was ranked #1 in the most conservative and members of Congress in Texas, for example? Maybe not. But you have to look at the fact, can he do the job? And that is what you need to look at when you are going through, a approval process of an appointee. It's not about how you feel about that individual politically. It's about how and if they can execute the job.
It seems like it's all about feelings, though. And
it shouldn't be, though. I mean, you need, because elections, again, have consequences. So a Republican won, you're going to have somebody that you probably are not going to agree with here if you're a Democrat.